Hi, everybody. Welcome to another movie chat with Tom Hunyadi, Tim Allen, and myself, Joe Mayo. And I missed a couple of weeks, and I'm glad we're able to get here for this particular show. Let's have some fun. How are we all doing? Pretty good for me. Hope everybody else is doing
Pretty,
well.
pretty good.
Pretty,
Yeah,
pretty good. I love the new channel name. Some people didn't even notice, I'm sure.
Wait a
I haven't
minute.
noticed it.
Uh, yeah. I don't know, man. I was gonna call it. I still may call it popcorn with mayo, but the thing is,
Oh,
well, that was gonna be it because it has a double meaning. Popcorn with me, Joe Mayo, and also popcorn with mayonnaise on it. But
right.
anyway, I went with mayo at the movies for now. Yeah, I like it for now. Like I said, the reason I keep saying I change it, I'm going to keep changing it, is because I know that tomorrow the sun will rise. That
Yep.
there's going to be a name that's going to hit me someday that I really like.
All right. Let's hope it happens sooner than later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This is funny. At least we have a running gag out of it anyway.
Yeah. Hey, there we go.
Wait a minute.
Who's
That
that
doesn't
guy?
that doesn't look like Tim. Hello, hello. James,
Hey.
hello, hello.
Sorry, I just realized my phone was about to die. I meant to
Oh,
put it on charge a little earlier and forgot.
hello, Beetle Jeb.
Yeah.
I like to talk about things we've seen and everything, but you want to know like how many people maybe are going to come here first. But I figure some people watch it on the playback anyway, and then they get
Yeah.
to hear it. But I will start, I guess. A week ago tonight, actually, at this very hour, pretty much, I was in a movie theater where they have retro stuff that I talk about from time to time. And I saw The Sting was there, and I've been waiting for that movie. I think the last time I saw that in the theater was 1977. I want to say.
Oh,
They brought
wow.
it back, because I didn't see it when it first came out. I saw it with some friends in 1977, maybe a couple of times. And we used to just go to the movies, and I was like 15, and I couldn't follow a friggin' thing back then. I didn't know what it's an older person's movie. I mean, you got to know something about, I don't know, conning people or
Yeah.
poker or something. It's kind of like
Pretending to be drunk.
complicated plot.
No.
Yeah. And that's my favorite scene in the movie is the poker scene all the
Yeah.
way, everything about that scene. And I was fortunate to see it with my girlfriend and Robert S. And also, one of my nephews came to see it for his first time, and he said he liked it. And I always tell him because I say, "Look, don't if you don't like it, let me know. I want to that way I know it's true when you say you do like it." He said, "No, he enjoyed it." And yeah, so it was good. It was a decent crowd in there. I don't think nobody really was unruly, but there was one point where there was a phone alarm or something went off,
Hmm.
and it was like during a scene. It wasn't too bad of a scene, but at the same time, there's a little exposition going on. We had to listen to what they were going to talk about, and it went on. I don't know how long I want to say. I would say almost. See, it felt like a minute and a half or something. It was a long time. And finally, people were saying, "Come on, shut it off, let's go," or something. And then, I was trying to restrain myself, but finally, at one point, I said, "And if you can't shut it off, leave." I
Yeah.
mean, if you have a phone that's not, you can't like figure it out. Is you got to get up and walk out. But anyway, eventually, it it went off.
Right.
Anyway, but no, it was a good experience, I would say. And there's other movies coming back that I may want to see, but I'll let you know about that. This is
Did the
interesting.
alarm go off? Did the alarm go off at 9 o'clock p.m.? Maybe it was his alarm to take his pills or something.
No, 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 no. It wasn't that. It wasn't at that time. And it was a scene. Well, anyway, no, anybody that knows the movie, it was a scene where Robert Shaw at first gets with Robert Redford says, "I'm taking you home, whatever. I'm giving you a ride home." And then he sits in the car with him and talking about how he wants to take over Paul Newman's business, and I need you to help me, man. We got to do the. And I'm like, this is an intricate part of the plot, Well, whatever. So when it comes to Butch Cassidy or the Sting, I was wondering that myself. I love George Roy Hill. I love what he did with both of those movies. And I love Paul Newman and Redford and I'll go with the Sting if I had to pick one by a hair, but I like both of them so much myself.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd have to think on that.
Yeah. Congratulations, Eddie. Congratulations. Well, there's not much else being talked about here.
Yeah.
So might as well bring that up.
In Michigan, when this tour comes to Michigan, it's going to be John Mellencamp and not Robert Plant.
Muggsy, take this rabbit out and let him have it.
No.
There's also another movie that I watched, which is a horror movie. It's called Lady Frankenstein. Not to be confused with Lisa Frankenstein. There's a new movie called Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes.
And it's just a coincidence. Now, what happened with this movie is that it's an Italian movie.
Yeah, I got it.
1971 or 2 or something. You've seen it, or have you not seen it?
Yeah, it was in part of that Gothic Blu-ray set that I had bought last year.
Yeah, was it a nude version? There was a nudity in it?
Oh yeah, it was uncut. Yeah, it was uncut.
That's the reason I ask you, because I don't have a copy of it, right? So I'm thinking, I don't know why I had the urge to watch it. I'm like, I used to have a couple of butchered copies because the U.S. versions are chopped. So I go online right here on YouTube, and they're really clear. One, high definition or whatever it is there, uncut on YouTube. And let's just say I don't do it because I don't know how to do it, but somebody I know knows how to do it. And I could have just watched it on YouTube, but I got a copy of it. Let's put it that way. So, in a little disc. Now I need a cover. I need a case for it, but whatever. And, it's Joseph Cotton is in it as Dr. Frankenstein. It's hilarious because he's collecting some booze bucks. I guess later on, he's doing it. And Rosalba Neri is gorgeous. Plays the daughter,
Right.
And it's kind of, it's just, to me, it's a slow, dull movie, for a horror movie. It's got all the trappings of a Frankenstein movie, but I'm surprised. I've never seen it look so good. I've seen all dark and choppy versions. This looks good, and the production values for such a movie weren't too bad. I thought, was production wise. But
the new restored version that I got, it looks fantastic. I mean, I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it on Svengoolie, a chopped up version on Svengoolie.
Really?
It looked absolutely dreadful.
Yeah. Just watched Lady Frankenstein for the first time, Joe, because you had mentioned it recently. I did.
Yeah.
Wow. By the way, Spaceballs is also going to be at that retro theater I talked about again. So
they are in talks for a sequel with Mel Brooks producing.
Wow.
And others writing and directing. So it should be interesting to see what direction they go with that, because I mean, some of the cast members are either dead or retired. So
yeah, I think that this is just, they go to Mel Brooks. This is just my take on it. I have no information, but they go to Mel Brooks and say, look, we're going to make Spaceballs 2. Do you want a producer credit? Do you want, because I really think that's it. I mean, he's not going to have any say in this movie. They might, be nice to him and ask him, what do you think here and there? But I don't think he has much input, to be honest.
What are you going to do? You have John Candy's is gone. You can't use John Candy in it.
Right.
Who else was Rick
Joan
Moranis?
Joan Rivers is dead, so she was the voice of Dot.
Yeah.
And then, Rick Moranis is in retirement, so who knows if he's going to come back. Yeah.
I don't see how they make that.
Bill Paxton, was in there as well. Oh no, I'm sorry, Bill Pullman. Bill Pullman played Lone Star. So I mean, that'd be cool if he could come back. But
I mean, what are they going to do? Because the first one was a spoof of all the Alien, Star Wars, Planet of the Apes.
Right.
Yeah, but it had its own story in there as well.
Right.
It had its own story, but it just so happened that there was a lot of spoofs in it.
Okay, guys. Oh, okay, wait, stop. I'll tell. I'll tell. The combination is
Yeah.
1,
One.
2, 3, 4. Was any? Were there any? Were there any more numbers than that?
1, 2, 3, 4.
And he's like, Big Van Patten's like, one,
I love it.
two, three, four. He's like,
Surrounded by assholes.
oh man.
So many
Hello,
great
Henry.
lines.
What's going on?
Hey.
Oh man. So all right, you guys now. Every time I told Tim I'm sorry I had to not do the show. He said, "Gee, when I'm ready and I have stuff that I want to talk about, we don't do the show."
Well,
You
no,
still
I
have,
don't have that much. I just,
what do you have? A backlog?
No, I don't have that much. You want to go, Tom, or
Yeah, I mean, I only got 2 things to show.
okay?
Because I forgot one of them because I'm staying at a friend's place right now. But a movie that came out last year by Brandon Cronenberg, David Cronenberg's son. Sorry, there it is. It's called Infinity Pool. Really twisted type of movie here. A couple go on vacation on a resort island. As long as they stay in the resort, they're fine. But naturally, they go off the resort, get into trouble. And a really kind of cool premise where the guy who gets in trouble, he's got this option. He can, suffer the consequences, or he can get cloned and watch the clone die, get executed. But you end up not knowing whether or not it's the clone or really him or what. But it's a pretty cool kind of Cronenberg. So the son is pretty twisted, just like the father, because David Cronenberg's got some pretty twisted films as well. The other one, now that I got a Region 3 Blu-ray player, I can get Blu-rays from all over. And I completely forgot all about this, so I ended up picking it up, and it's The Family Way.
Oh yeah.
With music, conducted by Paul McCartney. Oddly enough, our friend Chip Manninger, who we know from the 8 Arms to Hold You book, he has an 11-minute little special feature on here where he talks about the history of Paul's involvement in The Family Way. So I haven't watched it yet, but looking forward to seeing it. I mean, again, this was a Region 2, so it won't play in a regular U.S. region Blu-ray player. And then as far as the theatrical win, I did see a movie called The Bike Riders earlier this week with
I think that's
Tom
what I
Hardy.
wanted. I think that's what I wanted to see. If I saw ads and I thought maybe I'll see this.
With Tom Hardy and Aston Butler, who played Elvis in the movie from a couple years ago.
Yeah, I saw that trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, and it turned out to be a pretty good film. It's based on a photographic book of this motorcycle group called the Outlaws, which they changed the name in the movie to the Vandals. But you can definitely feel the Scorsese influence in the film. It's kind of told in documentary style from one of the wives of the members, one of the main members of the group, and you can see how it starts off. I mean, none of the guys are like really good people, but as the group got bigger and bigger, you got more scumbags and more scumbags involved, and more trouble ensues. And well, needless to say, some bad things happened, but I did enjoy it. It's a pretty good movie. So The Bike Riders, check it out now in theaters.
Did the film look very brown? Hold on. Did it look very brown? This film, because in the trailer it was like orange or brown. They do that a lot with movies. Yeah, I saw it in a couple of theaters, so it wasn't the theaters, but maybe it was just the trailer. They do that, like those Harry Potter movies look blue or gray. They have that like look. I don't know why they do that so much. The movies these days. What do you say? You saw reviews, Tim?
I've seen a couple of reviews, and everybody that I've seen liked it, but they said it's not what you might think it is going in, which I find interesting.
When you watch the trailers, it looks completely different. But then when you actually see the movie, it's a different concept. It's told by the perspective of one of the wives of the gang members. Okay, so it's like her being interviewed throughout the movie. So you'll see her talking, and then they'll go to a scene. A couple more, a couple like 20 minutes of stuff, and then it goes back to her. She's like still being interviewed. So she's being interviewed throughout the whole movie. This wife, and then it just goes back in time from like the mid to late 60s up till about 73 is when the main focus in the film.
Was there a History of the World Part 2? Because
Yes.
I never saw Part 2. I saw Part 1.
I didn't think Part 1 was that great. So
I liked it at the time in the movies. I saw it a few times in the movies with friends, but it's probably these days. It's probably a lot of Mel Brooks stuff is. I don't know. It's kind of like tame or something. I don't know what word to use. It's kind of like almost like not
Mm.
dated. Maybe I hate that much. I hate saying it. Although I think Blazing Saddles still is pretty strong.
Mm.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of gory movies, so much that I don't know which is the goriest, but I'll think of a couple of them that I can think of. One of them is Hot. Well, it's Hot Tension. It's a foreign film. Haute,
Oh, heart, yeah, yeah,
also known as High Tension.
yeah. I haven't
And
seen
that's
it, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah. I like that movie. Besides a lot of the gore, it's got interesting twists and things in it that I like. But another one was called Inside, which I tried once, and it was about I think some woman that wants to cut a baby out of a pregnant woman, and then we on Christmas Eve or something, and that was pretty
Christmas
terrible.
movie. Like Die Hard. It's a
Yeah.
Christmas movie.
Well, you
Awesome.
get yeah. Stephen Schnee plays Christmas in July, and I talk about Inside. So there you go.
Christmas in June, by the way.
I
Oh
know I
yeah,
don't, but
I plan on seeing the new Deadpool. I mean, I've seen the first two, so I plan on seeing the third one.
yeah.
Not my thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. They have filters or something over them. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's but a lot of people are using one palette. I saw somebody review the trailer for the new Nosferatu, and then one complaint was it all looks gray and
Yeah,
brown
it
and
does.
and
Yeah, they do that.
They did show that trailer before the Bike Riders, and I gotta tell you, I am very excited for this movie now.
Yeah. What's this about an actress? I just saw a headline that some actress was supposed to be in it. Now she's not in it, and they're not happy or something. I saw something
No,
about it.
no.
Nosferatu. Yeah.
don't know.
Um. Well, I've always liked the Carpenter thing better than the 1950s one, and that's very rare for me. I usually like the older one better. Um. But I like it much better, in fact, and that's unusual for me. But
I like the old one, but I'm alone in that. I think.
alone? No, you're not. Oh no, you're not. Well, maybe for certain groups, but I used to always catch hell from telling people, "Oh, the old one is not so much." I sound like
Yeah,
a kid from today. It's too
I think
talky.
most people like the Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake better too, and
I
I
do
do
that.
not.
I do too. Also, but
I do
remember,
not.
we're still talking about early times, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers '78. It's
Yeah,
still '78. It's not
yeah.
2008. You know.
No, but to me, there's no difference. A remake
yeah.
is.
For a movie that flopped back in what was it
Yeah, but they
81,
made better
82?
movies in the '70s than they do now.
Yeah, right. For a movie
Sorry.
that flopped like the thing did, I mean, it has really grown in stature over the last few decades. People, I mean, would maybe even call it, I don't know if they call it a cult classic now or just a
Yeah,
classic in
as
general, but people love that, that version of the thing.
yeah, so do I now. In
Mm.
the theater, I didn't like it
I
so much in the
and
theater.
I disagree with that. Believe it or not, as much as I am into old movies, and I do not. I think that corporate movies are much, 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 much worse than they've ever been. But there are still many, many. It's like music. There are still many, many, many amazing films made. And once in a
Right.
while, you even get a really good corporate film, which I am going to talk about one when I talk about
Gee,
what I
I
saw.
got to tell you, I think there was a newer movie you liked recently as well, if I'm not mistaken. But this seems a little new to me, Tim, because I always thought you used to be kind of down on a lot of stuff. Maybe you're seeing new movies that you like.
I'm down on corporate new. It's mostly superhero movies, and I mean, Rocky 12 and
Well, the problem is, Tim, is you've
Die
only
Hard
got one.
18
The problem is you only have one movie theater by you, and
yeah,
you don't have the smaller venues that are
yeah.
playing these smaller movies like
No,
the
I
Bike
don't.
Riders
I
and
know.
other movies
And
like
now that there's no physical media either in stores to go peruse, you really become, nothing. How, you know, I don't do Twitch, so I don't know how you find out about things. Yeah. Corporate film is a $300,000 film or $300 million film these days instead of a $10 million low budget sort of. I mean, which are still made, thank goodness.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
people are asking for those kinds of movies, and no one's going.
Yeah.
They're making it, but just no one's going to see them.
Yeah. Well, I think movies are done in theaters as far as. I'm not saying that, but when you change the colors of everything to one, it might as well be shot in black and white. If you're gonna make everything gray and brown, and
Yeah, I see that a lot.
you might as well shoot it in black and white.
Yeah.
Like I'll say one thing about Lady Frankenstein, it was very colorful, a lot of different colors. It wasn't just gray or blue. Well, whatever.
A lot of skin tone in that film, huh?
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah.
So can I talk about what I've seen or no?
You may.
Thank you. I'll talk very briefly about a movie I just saw a little while ago today. I didn't have a lot of time and I wanted to watch a movie, so I got out this set from movies of, I forget what it's called, Collision Course. It's got 20 movies on it, and I watched this movie called Devil on Wheels, which is basically, so it's a 1947, and the language, I loved it just for the language. I mean, talk about hipster doofus talk. Every person under the age of 20 in this thing was talking. You need kids today. Well, I'm not kidding either. Kids today watching this would need a dictionary to look up what they're talking about, because it's like, oh my god. But it's a drive safely movie. It's one of these things. The kid's making a hot rod at the beginning, and the dad's got a brand new car coming home, and the kid can't wait to see it. But the guy's driving like a maniac in his new car and gets a ticket on the way home. But he tells his kid to drive safely and everything. Meanwhile, he drives like a maniac. It's one of those. And they wind up, it's interesting because they wind up getting chased by the cops and wind up in front of the morgue. And they hear on the radio that one of the hot rodders got killed, and they're wondering if they know the kid, so they break into the morgue. It's an interesting movie. It's not just cars, and they each got a girlfriend. There's two guys, and one of the girls gets trapped in the morgue, and the other ones get away. And now she's locked in the morgue. It's interesting, and in the end, don't drive recklessly. It's more a parent's film. It's a parent. This is how you should deal with your kids, kind of thing. But it's better than you'd think it'd be. That's the only reason I'm talking about it. Okay, I decided to watch a few Asian films again, and one in particular I wanted to see. I've tried to watch this film probably 10 times, and every time I turn it off within 20 minutes. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. It's supposed to be one of the best Asian films ever made. So finally, I just sat down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this. And the film was Zoo.
Zoo Warriors?
Zoo Warriors. Formerly titled Zoo Warriors of Magic Mountain by Choi Hak, which is one of the great Hong Kong directors. And I watched it and I understood it, but it didn't take me that long into it to realize that this is not the zoo that I know, that I've seen. And it turns out 17 years after he initially made it, he remade this film in 2001, differently, telling a different story. And on the same disc is the American version, which is what I watched first because I wanted to understand it.
Right.
Because the subtitles go so fast sometimes. And I'm like, I'm going to watch the Chinese version, which turns out is a completely different movie, even though it's all used the same footage. It's the first movie is about this evil guy stealing souls. The American one, the Chinese one, isn't about that at all. It's amazing what you could do with the same film. The Chinese one is about a half an hour longer. So I watch, and they're both good. I recommend it now. I got through it, and I'm glad I watched the American one first because it did help me understand what was going on. So then I watched the original, which I tried to watch many times.
Very cool.
Zoo Warriors on Magic Mountain, and this is yet a completely different story than the other two. So there are 3 versions of Zoo that you can watch. This one is probably the best, but I don't recommend watching it first if you're not really well versed in Hong Kong film, because like me, you won't, and because I am, and you won't understand it. But this was I would say of the 3, this is the best film, even though the special features clearly aren't as good as the one made 17 years later. This is the first Chinese special effects extravaganza. Some of the guys that worked on Star Wars are on this. Some of the guys that worked on Tron are on this. They went to America for their special effects. So
very cool.
That's good. And then I watched really quickly Shaolin Executioners. This was a good martial arts film, better than I thought it would be. I love the Dragon Dynasty stuff and martial arts of Shaolin,
Jet Li,
Shaolin, Jet Li. Another good. All these films were good. This was the best one of the kung fu movies I watched. Mad Monkey Kung Fu. Heard about it for years. Never watched it. Owned it. Never watched it. This was really good. If you like, your Hong Kong kung fu movies.
If you like Hong Kong movies, you'll like it. But if you don't like Hong Kong movies, you won't like it.
Exactly. Why don't you put that picture back up? Two more. This is a movie that I think everybody that likes film should watch, just because it's interesting. I don't know if either of you have ever seen it or heard of it.
CQ. Yeah, that's Coppola's son.
Roman Coppola's first film.
Yes.
No, I like
help from his father.
The artwork looks good.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting movie, and he's very good friends with Wes Anderson, and this has a Wes Anderson feel about it. And it's a movie within a movie within a movie. There's 3 levels to this.
Yeah. Jason Schwartzman is in that too, right?
Yeah, Jason Schwartzman is in it. Jason Schwartzman is related to the Coppolas. I never really knew that until recently. Right. So yeah, this is a really, it's about the making of a sci-fi movie, but at the same, it's basically Barbarella. Is basically what they're making. Although he said he was influenced by Danger Diabolique. But I'm getting a huge Barbarella.
Yeah, I used to have that on DVD. So I enjoyed that film.
And he's also making a documentary about his life at the same time. And I think the main character is based on Roman Coppola, whether he wants to admit it or not. But really good movie. And I love the music by this group Mellow. The music is fantastic.
Melody.
Sort of French pop. And last but not least, I'd never heard of this movie. I found it at the thrift store the other day for $2 on Blu-ray, and I'm like, I'm buying this just from the cast. And this was amazing. And how did I miss this? It came out in 2017, The Post.
Yeah.
With Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep.
It's got Meryl Streep, and I like.
And how did I not know about this movie? This movie is fantastic.
That kind of went under the radar a little bit.
A little bit. It's directed by Steven Spielberg.
I know.
And yet nobody knows about this movie. I'm like incredible. Confused.
And it's got 2 big stars in there.
Right.
And it's got more than that in it. And it's about it's almost a prequel to All the President's Men. Because it's about It takes place in DC a couple years before that, and it's about the I forgot what they're called now. The tapes that came out about the Vietnam War. The that they weren't tapes, they're documents. Well, I can't think
Okay.
of what they're called. But anyway, the story got broke by the Times, and the Washington Post was just a little local paper. And this is what made the Washington Post big. They wound up in the Supreme Court, and just a fascinating story and very well done. And I love this movie to death. Everybody should know about this movie and see this movie. I think it's one of Spielberg's best. And I don't know why nobody knows about it, but there you go. The
I
Post.
A few
It's
years ago.
unfortunate that a lot of the later day Spielberg films, kind of like the Fablemans, and the Post, I mean, have kind of like, because they're not the big,
Yeah,
Jurassic Park or Jaws or the
yeah,
big sci-fi films, so yeah, those last few films even though West Side Story did do fairly well, but yeah, a lot of his movies of late.
yeah. Yeah, but the
I know.
Pentagon Papers is what I was
Yeah,
thinking about. The New York Times gets leaked the Pentagon Papers, and they've got
right.
3 months with them before they to go through them before they release an article, and then the Nixon White House shuts them down, and then one of their sources knows the guy who's their source and gets them,
Mm,
and the whole movie should we publish these? We can go to jail for this, you know.
yeah.
But and Meryl
Henry,
Streep runs the Washington Post. It's her company,
right.
and in the end, she doesn't know what to do. She's kind of frail, kind of doesn't. She never. This is based on a true story. This woman never held a job till she's 45, and suddenly her husband commits suicide, and next thing you know, she's running the Washington Post. And this is years after that. This is
Yeah,
9 years later, but still, but she's not very sure of herself. And Tom Hanks plays the editor who just wants to go, and she's like, well, wait.
right.
Meanwhile, I don't want to give the whole plot away, but meanwhile, they're about to go public. While this is happening, they're about to go public, and they've got all these banker backers. But there's a clause in their contract that within a week of them signing the contract, if anything quote unquote devastating happens, then they have the right to pull out.
Hmm.
So she could lose her whole company because this could be, if she's arrested and Tom Hanks is arrested and they're going to jail, that's what you would call devastating. And so she
Yeah.
could lose her whole business if she publishes these. So it's a very interesting story. Well worth your
Wow.
There you go. Anyway, I
Uh,
was impressed by that movie. I'm so glad I saw
cool.
it and found it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Henry, Tom Hardy is too old now. If he was going to be James Bond, it would have been 10 years ago. So if you're an actor, you shouldn't cast an actor in their 40s or 50s to play James Bond. They got to go with someone younger, in my opinion, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, they're still thinking of making James Bond movies, huh?
Yeah, or just end it altogether.
Yeah, I don't know.
Surprised they're just not remaking them
Yeah.
like they are everything else.
And that's our show for tonight. No, I'm just we're waiting for more stuff to come up. Oh man, what can I say?
Donald Sutherland passed
Oh, how could
last
we
week.
not even mention that? Jeez,
You
Yeah.
God.
You said you like. I still need to watch that remake of the.
Yeah, I
Invasion
do
of
like it
Brazil.
better. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so I'll definitely check that out.
But and it's such a rarity. I always hate like saying that because then I sound like myself. When you get a lot of more modern audiences usually saying, the old ones they're black and white, they're talky, yeah, the new ones, but I sound like that with those two movies, The Thing and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But yeah, what I like, I don't know. One of the things is in the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I saw after the '78 one. I should mention
Mm,
how I never caught up with it before the '78 one. I don't know. It was on TV all the time. But I just think like the clones, the pod people, they seem too normal. They're too emotional. They don't seem like enough like alien enough to me in the original. That's only one of the things. But
I got to see the original in a theater a long time ago, and I'm really glad I did.
nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think of him as more of a supporting actor, especially like in the Dirty Dozen or Kelly's Heroes. He's got one of the most fantastic scenes in the JFK, the Oliver Stone film. He's done a few leading parts, but yeah, yeah, he
But he
does.
could
Well, he's in
play
the late 60s, so I mean, he can play. Yeah, he can do. I mean,
anything.
ordinary people, or yeah,
That's what I
or
was thinking of. I mean, Ordinary People. He plays like the weakest human being you'd ever want to meet
right,
in Ordinary
right.
People, and that's
Yeah,
great.
he got a great scene in the movie Backdraft. The fireman movie or whatever. Kurt Russell and De Niro and Sutherland and one of the Baldwin brothers. So I've always enjoyed that film. He's got a really good scene in there. So many other great films.
I love the ending of Invasion of the Body Snatchers '78 too, but it's good if you don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah,
lot of
don't let
times,
go.
some of the
Let 'em know.
artwork,
Yeah,
not artwork,
yeah.
but some of the things I've seen since then promoting it ruin the ending.
I'm gonna look it up and get it. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of movie at the time when it was out wasn't my kind of thing I would want to see.
Yeah, I mean, Don't Look Now with Julie Christie. That was another really good one.
Clute.
Clute, another fantastic film.
MASH.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Mash.
like him in MASH. Yeah,
Yeah.
Doctor Terror's House of Horrors. No, he's got a small role in that. Yeah. And people say Animal House all the time, but he's got a small role in
It's a
that.
big role. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he
Yes.
did a lot of supporting
Yeah,
supporting roles in films. So people can say that he was robbed in 1980 for Ordinary People because he didn't get nominated for Best Actor for that film. So, but still, so many great performances. Especially in the Donald Sutherland. His son has done some good stuff, but Donald was tenfold better
Yeah.
than his son.
Yeah. And the thing about Ordinary People is it wouldn't have mattered who played that role. Nobody's going to get nominated for that. You never have a weak character nominated
Right.
for an Oscar. You just don't. And that's a shame, but it's true. And I thought he was amazing in that movie.
June Lockhart. It's 99.
Weakest link.
What's their
Las
next project,
Vegas.
Doc?
Oh, is
Okay,
that right? Wow.
that's okay. I'm not looking.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
I'm not looking.
Good luck to you, sir.
Not looking. So what's on everybody's minds out there, huh?
Yep.
Well, I don't have to go to like non-movie things. Just got my one hand clapping CD. Enjoy.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I was just
Yeah,
listening to it right before we came on.
yeah. I mean, I've got a few movies I'm really looking forward to seeing at the theater. Yorgos has a new movie. The guy that directed the movie with Emma Stone that she won Best Actress for. There's the Kevin Costner Horizon films that are coming. Part 1 is coming, I think, at the end of this month or the beginning of July. Either way, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And there's more stuff coming. Second half of the year is looking a lot better than the first half.
And that's our show for tonight. Oh man, what else can I say? I got a little dance for you guys. Put on my top hat. That wasn't today. That was a while. He wasn't. He hasn't been doing too well lately, Don. And no, it's no surprise the way he lives. It doesn't take care of himself. But that particular video, it was hot out there, and he was coming in after like I don't know, just having a hard time pushing his cart around. He was a little tired. You know what's going on, Eric?
Eric,
What's up,
what do
Eric?
you got?
I can ask
No,
you
I
guys
asked
a
you.
question. This because this happens to me all the time. I don't know. I call it synchronicity. I don't know what else you call it. But you start watching something with an actor that you think you've seen before, and then you figure out you have seen him before. So I watched like the half of the first season of The Americans, and then I just
Oh,
decided to
yeah.
switch something else. I go back to it, right? But turns out the lead actor from The Americans is in this. Does this happen to you guys? Like all it happens to me
Yeah,
all
it
the time.
happens to me all the
I'll
time.
watch
Yeah.
I'll watch like 6 black and white movies in a row, and just some minor character or something is in all of them. I mean,
Yeah.
the actor, and it's like I didn't plan this, but there they are, and there they are, and there they are, and it
Yeah,
happens to
that's
me
meant to
all the
be.
time.
It's kismet.
Yeah,
Is it
but yeah,
indeed?
so the star of the Americans is in the post. He's the
Hmm.
source. In fact, he's the
Oh, you
source.
just gave it away.
No, I didn't give it away. You know that it's the first scene of the movie. I'm not giving anything away.
You know the kung fu movie, so answer this one if you can.
Okay.
Big boss.
I have, but it's not very memorable to me. I know it's the one where Bruce Lee he's working in some sort of Chinese factory sort of thing. I can't remember.
I think
I don't
that's
remember
in
if they're
the.
shipping. I don't remember what. I don't know if I ever figured out what they did, and
I think
they
that's
weren't
in
paying
the
him
Criterion.
anything, and it's sort of a
Yeah,
Chinese Union movie.
yeah. I think it's in the Criterion box set, the Bruce Lee Criterion box set.
Yeah, yeah. So I have seen it, but I don't. It's not one of his best films.
No, no.
You got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah. Check
But
back when you watch the whole thing.
Tom Hanks, yeah, yeah. I I still don't
You
know
know,
who
I mean,
anybody is.
I've already spoke my mind on it 100 times. But again, I mean, I'm reserving judgment for when we actually see the movies. I mean, I mean,
I don't know
everybody
who
can
any of
say,
them are.
well, whatever they want, but until you see their performance,
And
that's when,
I thought it wasn't official either. That casting.
yeah, who knows? So,
Who knows? I don't know who any of them are, so I don't know
yeah,
about any
until the
young
cameras start
actors.
rolling.
I don't know, Darren. I don't know why you miss me. I'm everywhere. Uh, that's funny.
I think
How
Tom
many
Hanks
times
has
you
done
seen
lots of
Joe?
great performances. Um,
Yeah,
Besides, I mean,
How many?
he's great in this.
bosom buddies.
He's Bill Bradley, by the way. He plays. I mean, I love that it's a real thing, and I'm talking about the Post again, but that was a fantastic movie.
I still don't know what those movies are good. I really hate questions on that.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you, Eric, but I mean in general. Whenever people talking about it, they're like, "How are they going to do the same movie 4 times?" It's just a loose information about what they're going to be now. So everybody's taking so literally. I don't
Yeah,
know what they're going to do. I don't know if it's literally going to be
yeah.
for the same movies. You know, uh,
You don't know.
I think it's
It's
gonna be.
funny. I'm going to go off topic here for just a second because it's the same kind of thing. I'm reading the Bruce Spicer fan book on the White Album right now, the one he edited, not the one he wrote.
Yeah.
And you're getting reports. It's the early reports on what's going on in the Beatle world. It's going to be a 2-record set, 24 songs on it, and the lead off single from the album is going to be "Hey Jude Revolution." So you get actually Revolution. "Hey Jude" was the way it was.
uh-huh.
So you basically you just get misinformation.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the world.
I think it was better than the '60s.
I think the 30s might be the best decade in movies, followed closely by the 40s. But
I don't know. I like movies from different decades, so I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, it's
you
hard to
got
say.
Brando at his peak. You got Montgomery Clift at his peak. You got Burt Lancaster as. I mean, you got so many great actors. At their peak, and then great actors starting out like Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. So I think '50s was a really changing of the guard. You saw, a lot of newer actors, interacting with the older actors, and it was almost kind of like the handing off of the baton to the younger generation of the.
Oh man. Oh.
Couldn't help himself. He just couldn't help himself.
I just think it's funny that people who don't know that Henry has to mention 12 Angry Men every chat, and that's probably the only '50s movie you've seen.
It probably is.
And that's close
I
to
always say the 30s just because I think 1939 is the best year ever for film.
Son of Frankenstein.
Period. And I mean, you can
Knows
argue
he
all
should have
you
got an
want,
award.
but I mean the movie
Igor.
from Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind.
Criss Cross.
What am I missing? I'm missing tons here. I said Mr. Smith.
Listen, he's
Citizen
also
Kane.
seen Strangers on a Train. Unbelievable! Wow.
Wow, he's seen two. Wow.
Frenzy and Psycho are going to be at that theater I was talking about. But I've seen Frenzy and Psycho at the theaters though. I've seen them.
I've seen Psycho in a theater. That used to be really easy to catch in a theater.
Yeah, that's not. So I mean, nothing's really like exciting me. Make it the Omega Man, and I'll get excited.
Of course.
First time since I was 9 years old. Seen it. Yeah, there you go. By the way, that Incredible Shrinking Man again reminds me of Criterion. The Criterion sale. That's going to be next month again, right?
Yeah, July. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably go. I have to order things, but I'm starting to find out that again, Beatles stuff, the Beatle Fest. It's coming so fast that I don't think I got the money. I have to really get the money together for that thing. I didn't even order tickets yet. For one thing, I need tickets, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah, I hear you. This is supposed to be a movie chat, not a Beatles and stuff, but it's my own fault. I wouldn't even sing the Rolling Stones if this was a music chat. Right now.
No, I don't think I've seen a 3D movie since I was a kid.
No, I've seen a lot of them, and I saw some '50s ones as well. Creature from the Black Lagoon, House of Wax. It Came from Outer Space.
Yeah, I mean the Flesh for Frankenstein film. That was supposed to be 3D, but when released on DVD and Blu-ray over the last over the decades, they didn't make it compatible. There are 3D TVs now though.
Do they still make them, or is that like over with?
It's kind of over with. I can answer that question. It's been over with for a few years. Somebody might still make one, but the whole fad is over.
And I'm glad those curved screens seem to be stopped.
The players are over with too. So that's. But I mean, I did watch one.
The last one I saw was the James Cameron film. That's now the Avatar. The first one back in 2008 or 9 or whenever it came out. That's the last time I saw a 3D movie.
The only time I've seen 3D is when I worked at Sam's. We had this setup. I forgot who made it. It might have been LG, but this was amazing. This was the big goggle things you put on, and there was just this 10 or 15 minute loops DVD that ran, and there was this. It was just amazing. There was like this aquarium scene, and some of the fish weren't even on the screen. They were way off to the side of the screen and up above it and down. And I'm like, how are they doing that? And they're swimming right at you. And then there was the Yogi Bear movie was out, and he takes a swing and hits a ball, and that sucker goes off the screen and flies right at your face, and you're like, oh my God. It actually looked really good. I'm like, but I couldn't imagine the work it would take to make a whole movie look like that. Just
I've seen a lot of bad, really terrible movies,
Oh
but
yeah.
which one to say the worst? I always have a hard time with that because there's so many. Something probably directed by Andy Milligan or Jess Franco, but there's other ones too. But
I can never think of the name of it because I hate it so much. It's something like Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women or
oh
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
that's yeah, I know that one.
It's a Corman film
I think
that
that
got
is the name.
made and it was horrible. And then he had is Jonathan Demme maybe work on it to get it to be released, and it's still horrible. It's just so boring. I mean, to me, that's what makes a horrible film. You know, you can show me all the bad filmmaking you want, but if it keeps my attention, it's not a bad film. But boring someone to death, there's no excuse for that.
Yeah, it's boredom is what is the worst thing, and I don't see a DJ Moreno question before this. That's another thing. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't see it. Doesn't show up.
Kurosawa films in the 50s, you know, were, I mean, he's another great filmmaker that did great, you know, High and Low and Seven Samurai. I mean,
yeah.
I still have not seen The Room, and I probably will never see The Room.
And there was, I'm trying to think of the name. There was an animated movie that came out in the 90s, I think. It was like this hipster movie. And I rented that, and me and my girlfriend at the time watched it. What the heck was it called? And we were just like, this is the worst thing we've ever seen. Like that, what was that called? And it was a hit. It made money. I'm like, wow. It was hard. I can't remember what it was called.
I always mention the same titles. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, the absolute worst. Who knows? I mean, I have like notes on it. If I had it in front of me, I could look the worst ones.
Leonard Part 6 with Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I haven't ever seen it, but I've heard that's bad.
How about Wired? I always mention that to John Belushi.
People always say Howard the Duck. I've only seen parts of Howard the Duck, but that has a big cult following, so it can't be bad. Yeah. I mean, it can be horrible, but horrible isn't bad. Horrible is good, you know. I mean,
that Roger Corman Fantastic Four film is god awful. The Garbage Pail Kids, you know, the He-Man movie with Dolph Lundgren was god awful.
I always mention 3,000 Miles to Graceland, which you know, that's looking for like a title that maybe some people have heard about in the recent decade or so, but I don't really remember. Again, I know I did a review on it online, but you know me, I can't find it that fast. It's hard to find it. It was a terrible movie.
I've never seen it, but glitter can't be good. It just can't be. It would be impossible.
And I could say things like Phantasm 4, Oblivion, but you know, you know, there's a lot of really.
And what was the Justin Timberlake movie that he made with what's her name? That can't be. Was it Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake? That can't be good.
No way is Plan 9 from Outer Space the worst movie in my book.
No. That's I'd rather watch Plan 9 from Outer Space than Gone with the Wind. Now, does that make it a better movie than Gone with the Wind?
Plan 9 is
but I'd rather watch it.
It's incompetent. It's incompetent in every way, but it's that's what makes it funny.
To me, it's a more entertaining movie than Gone with the Wind. So no, it's not the worst movie ever made. In fact, it's Ed Wood's best movie. So how can Ed Wood's best movie be the worst movie ever made? That's impossible.
That other
What
one
was
is
the
one of
one
the Orgy
called?
of the Dead is one of the worst movies I've ever
Yeah,
seen. I
Yeah,
think.
but
Orgy
he
of
did.
the Dead,
He only
yeah.
wrote that. He didn't make
But
it.
Well,
but
whoever.
you got a lot of pairs of stuff in there that make it
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
worthwhile.
Well, that's
yeah,
the only thing.
yeah.
There was the Santa Claus Saves the Day from the Martians, or what is that
Oh,
movie
Oh,
that's
Santa
called?
terrible
Claus
too.
Conquers the Martians. You know,
Yeah,
I have a half decent print of that. There are no good prints of it, but I have a half
yeah,
decent one. And weirdly, the better the print of that, the better the movie is. I think the Santa Claus, the
I was
Mexican
just
movie
going to
Santa
mention that
Claus,
one when you
is
got
way
done.
worse
That
than
is
Santa
much
Claus
worse.
Conquers the
That
Martians.
is a very disturbing, freaky kind of movie. The beginning is. I wish I get my notes like that.
What? Which movie are you talking about? Santa
Santa
Claus?
Claus. Yeah.
That movie is so strange. I mean, it's like they made a movie. This is what it seems like to me. They made a movie and it was too short and they needed to do filler. So they filmed like 20 minutes of different countries' Christmases. Okay, we filmed this. Let's open the movie with the filler. That's the way it seems like to me. They open the movie with the filler so that you're so bored by the time the movie actually starts.
Well, I don't think
Boring.
as poor as the Jaws movies are, the last couple. I don't think they're among the worst movies I've seen. Um, you know. Now, yeah, it's funny. There's lots of funny stuff like that in
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah.
Plan 9. But the thing about this, KRWD, we got to disagree here. Well, I do wish about the old Planet of the Apes movies. I'm with you there. But the thing is, there's always been political
yeah.
references and subtleties. That's the whole idea of it, I think. But when you say woke, nobody hates the so-called woke stuff more than me in movies. But I don't really detect unless any woke stuff in the New Ape series. I don't notice anything like that unless I'm missing something. So
Yeah, some people just feel better saying that kind of stuff without understanding it.
well, KRWD. You and I are usually on the same page with that kind of thing. But I would be the first to agree with you, but I just don't see it myself personally. And I'm glad because I wouldn't be enjoying the new movies, if that was the case. You know,
I mean, Silent Running has, kind of, I won't say political themes, but kind of like,
ecology.
yeah, ecology, and Omega Man, right? In a way, kind of has,
uh, I don't know about.
um, not necessarily political themes, but it has a message.
Yeah, but when you say woke, I mean, I think I don't get too much of this. I'll have to kill the stream. I don't want to do that either. So, but unless you talk about it in the new movie, they got like the girl is like this big hero and everything, and she's the one that's because it's got to
And
be
she's an
girl power and all that.
anti-hero, really. She's not really a hero. She's
You
an
know.
anti-hero, I
Well, this
think.
is true. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see no problem with that with the apes movies. But anyway, now what do we do with Henry? Yeah, it's tempting sometimes, but so far so good.
Are the alien? Do you consider the alien movies, woke with the strong, female lead
No,
character?
no.
You know,
Well, Eric, you should hunt down the Post if you liked All the President's Men. I think it might actually be a better film. And I love All the President's Men, don't get me wrong. But the Post was spectacular. Wow.
Because I was thinking Alien as we were talking, and sometimes things slip your mind. I was going to mention it, but then you get into something else about Sigourney Weaver's character and all that, especially in Aliens, especially in the second one.
yeah,
But back then in '86, it wasn't. The climate wasn't really like that anyway. It was good.
you know,
I mean, it was a good
yeah.
thing that she was this
There's
strong character.
Thelma and Louise, another example.
Mm.
Two strong, female characters.
More 12 Angry Men. Yeah, it has a point, but we discussed it. When did we last discuss this? I
Yeah,
told
yeah,
you.
yeah. The woke thing started in the 50s. We all know that.
Yeah, but that I still say I said it again. I like the movie, but that Henry Fonda character, is he'll do anything he can to make that guy innocent, not guilty. Well, not guilty.
Yeah,
Not,
and
he's not guilty. He does everything. And the thing is, if they can't all agree, which at one point they don't, they say, look, let's just have a hung jury already. He's going to keep hammering. Instead of saying, okay,
right,
we don't agree. I guess we got to do a hung jury. He keeps hammering it more till he's off. And I don't
right,
understand that, But I mean, it's a great movie though. I love the
right.
performances, the
I mean,
great
yeah. If you
play.
don't like strong female characters, then blame actresses like Joan Crawford, Betty Davis, and Barbara
Yeah,
Stanwyck, who fought for, better roles, better written, roles.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
one of the things that made Hollywood the way it was the production code. Women had better roles and more interesting roles before the production code hit. When the production code hit, women could pretty much be a housewife, and that's it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that lasted through the '60s.
yeah, yep,
Um, and
But they didn't
that's
call it. They didn't call it woke. I don't. Back then, Henry. This
right,
kind of thing. They did. They
true.
didn't
yeah.
call it woke because it wasn't woke back
Well,
then. But now it's like if you have to like dot every I and cross every T to the point where it's kind of written into. They have things like that, which I'm not getting too far into it if we can. But the idea that
Yeah,
they have to have a certain uh, allotment, or I forget what they call it. I can't find the right
yeah.
words here. What's the word when you
A certain amount of representation of
and just
certain
because it's
groups.
supposed to be, then that's with anybody,
that's
anybody.
everybody hated it. If you were around in the early '70s, everybody. I mean, there's a good Archie Bunker on this about the anti-discrimination laws that Meathead didn't get into the graduate school he wanted to get into because there was a black guy with a slightly less better academic record than he had, but he was black and they needed to meet the quota.
Right.
That
Yeah,
used to happen all the time. Is that what we want again? I mean, I'm being serious here. I mean, I know you're probably going to now
I'm
shut down your stream and
yeah,
take it
I'm
down,
I'm
but
really
but
curious.
that's what woke is to me, is
Yeah,
quotas
the
and all of
really
that
curious.
stuff, and that's not good.
Yeah, to see how this plays out. But the this new movie coming out called Wicked, which is kind of like a prequel to Wizard of Oz. The Wicked Witch of the West is being played by a black woman. So I'm really going to be curious to see, even how that plays out. Even though the woman's green, Wicked Witch of the West is green. I'm still gonna. I'm really curious to see how that's going to play out.
Well, that's a whole other thing. I don't I've said this before. This is just my personal thing. I don't like them changing iconic figures to make different versions of them in that way, and it could go for either side. And I always used to say,
Right.
if they're gonna make, I'll say it the other way. If they're gonna make a superhero Marvel movie, Luke Cage, Power Man, and they're gonna make him a white man, that's not right. That's not Luke Cage. They're gonna make
Right.
Shaft and they make him white. That's not good. If they're gonna make James Bond a black man, I don't see. I want it to be the way it was conceived. But then again, I'm an older guy.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then there
Well,
was the Snow White
and
thing.
the thing is, the ghost all female Ghostbusters remake. How did that turn out? Or let's
I mean,
take
people,
let's
yeah.
take Doctor Who and make him female. How did that work out? You know what I mean? You think
Those kind of
eventually
things
they'd
too. Yeah,
learn
that's
that
what.
some
Yeah.
things just don't work.
And people are
Right.
not liking it. They're not going to the movies a lot. But it's weird because we bring up the past movies. I don't know what the difference is. The difference maybe it was an exception or an oddball kind of thing. That's why it worked.
Like, well, I mean, you were old. You guys are old enough to remember. I mean, was there any criticism of Billy Crystal's gay character in Soap
Well, I
back
didn't really
then?
watch soap, but I don't. I didn't really watch soap. I remember. I remember know of it, but I don't
I'm gonna
remember.
say no, but just because it was considered, not mainstream, it was,
Right.
it wasn't prime time on a network. If it was, I think there would have been. But it was.
And then
It's
the
like
other,
Fernwood Tonight didn't get a lot of criticism either for the same reason. It
right, and the other
wasn't
thing too
mainstream
was,
enough.
remember Sandy Duncan did Peter Pan. You know,
Mhm.
so instead of a boy, here's a woman doing Peter Pan. You know, I mean, I was old enough to remember that, but I don't remember what
But
if they were
Yeah,
being kind of
that's
yeah,
traditional though. That
yeah, that
happened
doesn't
because
really.
that's traditional. From the very beginning, Peter Pan was always played by a girl. The very first
mm,
Peter Pan in 1922 was played by a woman. That's
okay.
been traditional for it's always a woman playing a young boy. I don't know why,
Right.
but it's the way it started that way, and they continued it and continued it and
Yeah.
continued it.
I mean, I've never
Well, what
seen
is
The
it?
Wiz, but I never minded that. I always thought it was a
Right.
cool idea for that cast because I don't know. I just thought because they were doing that kind of a take on it. They were doing
Yeah.
a soul, a
Yeah,
good word, a soul
yeah.
take or a
Not
black
a good
take
movie.
on
Not
it.
a good movie at all, though. I don't think
No,
it's good
no,
at all.
Yeah, I never
but you
seen
know,
it.
if you want to do the woke thing on it, where's the white people in the Wiz? Where's the Asian
Right.
people? Where you know, I mean, that's the thing that I don't like. It's okay to go everything another way and have that all be one. That's fine, but you know, it doesn't work for me. You know, you
Mm,
Well, you know, what? Well, Henry, let's. What if they decided not to make them British anymore? Make them something else.
right.
U.S.
Yeah. Then you
American.
don't have a James Bond. I mean, you
you know,
don't have a James Bond then, you know.
let's make them American, or let's make them, I don't
Yeah.
know, Asian or something. I mean, come on,
Maybe.
it's
Yeah.
like I don't think Ian Fleming uh wanted that.
Right. I
I
agree with
don't
you,
know.
Joe.
no, but
Yeah.
that was a different time, and you know, and I don't know. I just I you know
Create
I
another double agent, a brand new double agent.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
James Bond.
exactly. I don't understand why. Um, here's an idea. You want to go to a throwback thing. How about instead of James Bond, and I'm being serious now. How about Get Smart, but make it like a black comedy that's like half serious. You know what I mean? Take a completely different take. Take a James Bondish take on Get Smart, and have him maybe not be the best secret agent involved, but have it be serious at the same time. That's more interesting than James Bond to me. Have it be a
Mm,
black comedy.
I don't know. I just think I've always liked when they kept going on with James Bond for a while into P.S. Brosnan, and then I was like thinking, oh, I don't know about this Daniel Craig guy, and then I liked Casino Royale and a couple of those, and I thought, okay, it was a different take on him. He's a little more like I don't know, tough or something, a little more like Jason Bourne, I think they said, or something like that, the
mm,
Bourne films. But now I didn't see the last couple. I know there was supposed to be all kinds of changes in it and everything, but I'm just saying it just feels like the whole idea of James Bond isn't really like a current thing anymore. Like it doesn't feel like fit the times in general. I don't know.
I,
Am I
I
wrong?
I like the couple that I saw with Daniel Craig, but to me they're not James Bond films. They're just action films.
Right.
They have to me the connection with James Bond is about zero. That that's it to me.
I
They're
see
just
what you're
not
saying.
films.
mm,
They're just films. That's what somebody said. This conversation goes back a long time ago, but when the fourth Raiders film came out, so this goes a long time ago. I worked with a guy that saw it, and I asked him how it was, and he said it's okay. It was actually a fairly good film, but it's not a Raiders film.
Yeah.
right.
And that's to me that's the same thing as James Bond.
Well,
It's an
that's what
okay
it's gotten
film,
to
but it's
because
not a
Right.
Raiders film.
you could say that I don't know. Arguably, James Bond was very much a product of the '60s, Cold War,
Well, and
'70s, even.
'70s,
Yeah,
and
in the
Live and Let
'70s
Die
too.
is certainly a James
Well, like
Bond
I said,
film.
the '70s too.
Yeah,
But then you start getting even into the '80s, maybe a little
yeah.
bit. Well, I don't know. Time to goodbye to James Bond, but I don't think it's gonna happen. They just keep making them, I guess. So, uh, maybe they can make a version of Ironside where he's not in a wheelchair.
Call him Perry Mason.
Uh, you know, Perry Mason. I wish I could get into that show. I try every
I
now and
It's one of my favorite shows.
then. Everybody's been in there. That's what they joke they always
When
make
I
on
was on my
Thanksgiving.
mother's, when I was in mom jail, it was seriously, it was on like 9 times a day. I could literally spend more than a third of my day watching Perry Mason if I wanted to.
No, I didn't
The
even bother
actual
watching
event. Ouch. No, the movie. I didn't see the movie.
I've got no desire in seeing that movie.
No, none of us have seen it. There we go. None of us have seen Pearl Harbor. No desire either.
Yeah. Oh, by William Shatner. No thanks. Come on now. And he's dead anyway. He died, Kirk. Why?
Oh, they'll find some way to go back in time and
Yeah, they
some
brought
creative
Spock back too. Whatever.
multiverse type thing.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah. No thanks. And loser list. I don't have a problem with a black guy being Doctor Who because he regenerates and he can be anything. I didn't even have a problem with him being a woman, to be honest. The problem was that they were probably the worst scripts ever written.
See, I never watched Doctor Who, so
that's the problem with that.
Yeah.
if that's the case, then why not? If
that's how they change characters as he regenerates.
Yeah, the Doctor regenerates, and for a while he got younger and younger and younger, but you could only get so young before that stopped, and then they just he just randomly changed.
It
I
sounds
think
cool.
the new one. I think they have made him the new black guy. I think they've also made him gay in the
Well, he could
series.
do that as well.
See, that's ridiculous to me, and not because he's gay, but the Doctor is asexual.
Right.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, he's cared for a couple of his whatever partners or whatever you want to call, but there's never been any romantic thing going on ever, and so he shouldn't be gay. He shouldn't be anything. He's just a doctor.
I watched Benny Hill, but I don't remember that stuff.
I don't remember it either. I mean, I was like 16 when Benny Hill was regularly on television.
Yeah,
so
I got growing up in Detroit. We got the Canadian stations. So Canadian, one of the Canadian stations would play Benny Hill. So I would kind of stay up late and after the parents went to sleep, and then try to find the Benny Hill shows.
The only thing I remember about Benny Hill was, I remember the chases at the end and all of that, but I seem to be like Nana Mazursky was a musical guest way too much. That's what I remember about Benny Hill. Seems like every episode, there she is singing another of her fabulous songs.
I enjoy Papillon.
Yeah, so did I.
I don't think it's his best performance. I think that might be The Great Escape. Maybe, but it's good. Yeah, he's really good in that movie.
And Hoffman is great too. I mean, talk about playing a character and keeping it up, and he is fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in ages, but I did like it.
It's my ex-father-in-law's favorite film, bar none. So I've seen Papillon. I was forced to see Papillon more than a couple times. Yep.
Really? You don't say. 73 minutes.
I didn't say.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sony has signed a deal to distribute Disney films, Lion Gates, and Hollywood Pictures stuff in 20th Century Fox stuff associated with Disney. They have a deal now to release their stuff on physical media. So hopefully now we're going to get a lot of those films that Disney has owned that they haven't done anything with on social media. So hopefully we're going to start getting those stuff on disc soon.
I hope. Disney taking over the Planet of the Apes movies.
Or, I never understand why some of these companies are reluctant if they don't want to put it out to license it to somebody that does. It takes a
Right.
lawyer like an hour to draw up a form, if that much, and that's
Right.
all the money, and then it's free money from then on. So I don't understand why they don't do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Paramount just finally released Scorsese's Bringing Out the Dead from the late '90s, I think it was, with Nicolas Cage, film that I think is kind of a little underrated.
Thomas Crown Affair.
Yeah,
I haven't
that's
seen
a good one.
either version. I need to. I want to see the first one.
Is that
The
a Pierce
second one-
Brosnan movie?
Yeah,
Second
yeah,
one.
the second one, yeah. The first one had Faye Dunaway. And
Mayo at the movies. This is the movies right here, sitting in my computer.
Pardon us while we take a minute, bow our heads, and play the Utopian national anthem.
Oh man. Oh well.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back after a couple weeks. Thank you, Joe, for joining us a couple weeks ago on the Two Legs 250th show. Appreciate that.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I watched some of it.
Well, thank you, Tim.
I
Appreciate
gotta
that.
say, I kept going and doing something and coming back, and I'm like, they're still on.
I know. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Bullet, another good Steve McQueen film.
So they say. Still never seen it all the way, just a car chase. So,
Well, I've seen Bullet, and what was?
well, so, I'll tell you another movie that has flashbacks within flashbacks. Jungle Woman from 1944, also, and a Universal horror movie.
Did you end up ever seeing the Cat People remake from the '80s with Malcolm McDowell?
I saw it when it first came out. It's
Yeah.
1982, so I don't remember
Yeah.
much. I don't remember
Yeah.
much.
I mean, I own it, but I mean, again, that's one of the instances where I do like the original. I mean, not that they have anything much in common,
Right.
Yeah.
but I do really enjoy that. That was it Val Lewton that did the
Yeah.
original.
Well, how many of those have you seen? Because those movies
I've
are
only seen
pretty
the
good.
first one. Yeah, I've
You know,
only
there's
seen the
the-
first
you know,
one.
I mean, I'm not going to say all of them are great, but a lot of them, they have that very, it's more suggestive, like that, subtle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All of those movies.
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
And then another company is finally releasing the mega uncut 270-minute version of Caligula with Malcolm McDowell and Helen Mirren that I'm really looking forward to as well.
No, Eric, you did not have to see Jungle Woman. It's a terrible movie. It's one of the worst of all. It's the second in a 3-film series about second film in a 3-film series about a ape woman, and it's the worst. Oh, come on, get out of here, Henry. Stop bringing your politics up. Because you make me want to answer it. All I'm going to tell you is you're lucky that it's even happening, or we're lucky it's even happening because it's stacked. The deck is stacked, and the only way to get it done was to say, "All right, I'll take your bait." That's the only way. But let's see what happens. It should be interesting. Yeah, don't watch it. I mean, if you haven't seen those, take my word for it. I'm a completist with
it's
those
probably
movies.
only 64 minutes long, anyways.
Oh, it feels longer. I'm telling you.
I love those 60, 64-minute, 40s, horror films.
Yeah.
I just like B movies, whether
Yeah.
they're
I'm
horror
telling you,
movies
trust me on this. It's not good. Considered one of the worst Universal horror movies. That and She-Wolf of London with June Lockhart, a young June Lockhart, who's
I
99.
watched She-Wolf for one, and it
She
wasn't
liked
that
it.
bad, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, no, but I mean, there's no it doesn't have to be a monster. I mean, that's what's great about some of the Val Lewton movies. Some of them are just
Yeah, yeah,
suggestive, but
yeah.
nothing is like nothing, man. Ugh. It's not as bad as Jungle Woman.
Haven't seen it. Have not seen it.
The last thing I would do is want you to be president, Henry. That's for damn sure. Not until you've lived some more decades and got a dose of what
Yeah,
life is really like.
exactly.
There's a reason you have to be a certain age to run for president. You have to have lived and understand the world a little bit.
Yeah, and don't expect me. I've got too many skeletons in the closet.
And there might not be any elections anyway. Your hero, De Niro, I played another clip where he was screaming in the street saying, "Do you realize what's going to happen? There'll be no more elections. Do you realize that?" Yeah, okay. There'll be no more elections. I'm telling you, man.
If they're rigging them, which I suspect they've been doing for years and years, it doesn't matter anyway.
I never thought. Maybe I got to see more McQueen because to me he wasn't all that. But whatever.
I think he's really good because
I mean, Papillon. Yeah, that's probably the best thing I've seen him in.
He's very, very well. I can't remember already. We talked about a movie that I watched, a later one from like 78 or 80 or something, where he's a cowboy, and I loved him in it because he was just so laid back and quiet, and it's like, but yet he's not boring. It's hard to be intense and quiet at the same time, and McQueen's very good at it.
Sand Pebbles.
Yeah, I've always found that movie to be a little boring.
Yep.
All right, guys, final 10 minutes. Bring some stuff. Come on.
Come on, man. Staying away from TV watching tonight for this. I wolfed down my dinner for this.
Well, I can just mention this. The guy that's in The Americans, it's also in The Post. He's in, I've seen him. He was in Brothers and Sisters, a series from a bunch of years ago that my mother watched, which is where I've seen him before. But anyway, it's weird because in The Russians, he's a Russian, disguising himself as an American. In this movie, he's an American, but it turns out he's very British. When he's talking without an accent or without, just talking, it's like, oh my God, is he British? But you'd never know it. I've never seen him in anything British or play a Brit. And it's like, wow, what an accent.
To be honest with you, Henry, I know the show you're talking about, and I know it gets really good reviews, but I have no interest in seeing The Boys.
Paul Newman, I take a million times over.
Yeah.
Not only that, he's going to be. I remember another movie they're going to show I've never seen on a big screen is Cool Hand Luke. I'm going to see that on the big screen.
Oh, I've seen that on a big screen. That's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen The Curse of the Fly. I'm a go-to horror guy, and I like it. It's really bizarre. It compared to the first two. It's really different. They try to do something different with it. Or if The Curse of the Fly, I think it's 65, but look who's quibbling. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. I don't think I think we said this before. I'm not so sure with all the great roles that De Niro is able to play. I'm not sure that he could do Scarface the way. Well, he could do something, but he wouldn't be able to do the Cuban.
It wouldn't be Cuban. That's the thing about him, because he has played some roles where he's like in The Mission. He's a Spaniard. With playing the monster. Playing. Anytime that he played a Southerner, anytime that he has to have a different accent, it's not necessarily something I look forward to.
See that? That'd be funny.
Eric, Eric Schultz, I agree. Spencer Tracy was amazing, and I think I talked about this in the last show we did, or the one before that. It's his last movie, but in his speech at the end of Guess Who's
Yeah.
Coming to Dinner is one of the greatest performances, I think, in acting history. Anybody that wants to be an actor should see that. He's just phenomenal in that.
And mine's bad too. Getting bad. Oh, Kimber, what's up? And now that it's summer, I'm dealing with the curse of the fruit fly. Yeah, I thought I got a couple of fruit flies around here.
Hello, Kimber.
By the way, Tom, I haven't heard much about those sandwiches anymore. Are you still enjoying those Jersey Mike's Mondays?
Yeah. Not didn't this week only because my brother's in town, so we've been doing other stuff. But next week I will be back on the Jersey Mike bandwagon.
Yeah, I haven't been. I should be though. What's the difference?
Yeah, I got a question for Tom.
Yeah.
How's the Odd Couple going?
I wanted to hear updates on it. I wanted to hear some updates. But
Oh, it feels so bad.
this is tough for Tom. Maybe no.
That's that. Well, I mean, no, because I've got my ranking, and De Niro's ahead of Paul Newman.
Paul Newman all the way, man.
No.
I'd go Paul Newman, but I would actually take McQueen over Newman, though. I love McQueen.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But I mean, it's just like any time that he does have to do a different accent, I do kind of cringe a little bit.
I could see that. I skipped Goodfellas. That was on the big screen too. I skipped it. I skipped Pulp Fiction also, which I shouldn't have. But there you go. That's a little Felix for you.
Yep. Pits.
Oh, I laughed out loud when I was a kid and I saw that for the first time. Oh man, when he had the echo, he was like dreaming about him saying it. Oh, that's one of your favorite things, Wild Adventure. I don't. That's like the beginning of season 2, the color episodes. And still I haven't gotten through all 83 of those yet. And I've had the Blu-ray set since 2015.
Oh, actually, Doc, I'll be heading your way next week because I'm going to be visiting Ethan Alexanian in Canada for a couple days.
Wow. Have fun.
You hang out with Stud Muffin and Boo Boo.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
Stud Muffin. I meant Doc Dacus.
Oh.
I said Stud Muffin. It was Canadian
Ethan
stuff.
better buy you a bunch of stuff.
I meant
I'm looking forward to this because we got tickets for the 50th anniversary screening of Phantom of the Paradise, the Brian Palmer movie, which I adore.
Where's that?
In Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So and that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to.
Okay, I'll try to do this. So what? So buttons. So buttons? And he does the same thing on Quincy every night, man. Jack Klugman, look, I love you if you're listening to me, but you're no actor. That's a terrible thing for me to say. He's just always Jack Klugman.
Award-winning actor. What are you talking about?
Well, for that, I don't blame him. But, but he's just the same thing in everything, man. It's amazing to me. He does the same kind of thing. Like the same kind of exchange here. So buttons. He does the same kind of thing. Quincy. Well, Quincy, I think it was a lobotomy. A lobotomy? It's like the same thing. Got the hand, acts with his hands. I'm in the mood for a sandwich. I just had I had peas and some 2 little pork chops. I mean, God.
That was a fun video watching you guys going to the restaurant or whatever and getting the sandwiches or.
Which one was that?
Was it Mikey bitching about his sandwich because he didn't know it was a whatchamacallit?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, man, I got a nice sandwich today over there. I stopped watching Night Gallery not because it was bad. It happens. It's like, yeah, then you get into something else. I guess like with the Odd Couple, it's like, I don't know.
A panini, that's what it was.
Yeah.
He goes, that's not a panini. Finds and makeup like Johnny Depp, and you're not versatile.
I don't know if I agree with that at all. I don't think.
No, I don't agree with that at all. But I don't.
It's hard to act through a ton of makeup. Look at the original Planet of the Apes and how much you could tell exactly what those people were thinking, and they're under so much.
Yeah,
that's hard to do. Actually, that's really hard to do.
And don't forget, Klugman was in 12 Angry Men.
That's right, and he's the same thing in every one of these things that we're talking about. 12 Angry Men. Well, 12 Angry Men, he's a little more understated. You can't talk to me like that. He can't
was in
talk to
3
me
Twilight
like
Zones, I think. Klugman.
Pip,
I think he was in 3.
The trumpet one, the Pip one, and the pool game.
Yeah,
of pool.
yeah. So, a game of pool. So yeah, he was in 3.
I'm the best. I'm telling you, I'm the best. It's like I'm telling you, it's the same moves he got and everything that he does. He's even in like the movie, Charles's movie, 2 Minute Warning, and he plays like a gangster or something. And the other gangster's like, well, I don't know if he's a gangster, but they want their money and he doesn't have it. So they take Jack Klugman, dangle him from a hotel window, like I don't know how many floors. Oh, Mr. Green, oh, come on, Mr. Green. Sounds like Oscar. I know it's his voice, but it's the same way I picture Oscar Madison doing it. No, I agree. I agree with you that you don't need makeup necessarily to be a good actor. No.
Some people did it without it. Lon Chaney didn't use a lot of makeup in a lot of his roles, and his face would be completely changed. But most people can't do that.
Mr. Green. I was thinking I had a whole jar of pepperoncinis that I was eating with my Jersey Mike's. You know those things?
Oh, pepperoncini. Yeah, I get those on my Jersey Mike's.
You do? I take a bite of them like with every bite of the sandwich. I take one.
But I put it on the sandwich. I don't.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna do. You know what? Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
That's it. And when's the Beetle Fest? August 9th is the Beetle Fest.
Yeah, I got a big day cooking day tomorrow. I got to cook up some Italian sausage, a bunch of chicken, corn on the cob. It's gonna be.
And on that note, we're around our stop time, so let me say thanks to everybody for being here on screen and in the comments. So let's see what we do next week, if anything. Woohoo! Tell it
I'll
to
be
the
in
Marines.
Canada next week, so.
Oh, it can't be next week for you. Okay, but we still could do it. But we'll just have to get somebody else in there, like maybe Henry.
Yeah. Maybe.
Henry, let's do a show on 12 Angry Men. Henry
can talk about the 4 movies that he's seen.
Yeah, there's a lot of Lon Chaney movies. I got a bunch of them. We're good. For silent movies. All right, everybody. So have a good one. Talk soon. All right, everyone. Cheers.
Go see a movie.
I press leave studio instead of end stream.